I've always wondered, are there books out there with my name in them, like in the title or as the name of the main character? So I went ahead and did a little search and checked some books out. So we're going to go through all of those today. I have 11 books for you. And when I say I have 11 books for you, just books for us to talk about with the name Lisa in them. I don't know if I'd actually recommend them. A few of them were a little creepy and strange, but that's what happens when you have a name that is like a little bit older, which is the case with my name. So my name was super popular in the late 60s. And when I got my name, it was 1975. And I say when I got it because I was adopted. So in 1974, I had just, I was abandoned. So I had the name like the Jane Doe equivalent of like names for Korean. And when I came to the US in 1975, my parents decided to name me Lisa. And I asked them why, and they were like, oh, it just sounded pretty. And I think the reason they thought that is because it was the number 8 most popular name in the country for girls at the time. And Lisa Presley, Elvis Presley's daughter, was named Lisa. And I'm sure back then, just like now, people wanted to name their child after a celebrity's child. So whether or not they knew that consciously, I think that was just kind of like in the back of their head. So that's how I ended up with the name Lisa. Hi everyone, I'm Lisa, author of the Frosted Misfortunes Cozy Mystery Series, starring my own little kitty cat, Lucky. On this channel, we talk all about mysteries, whether those are books, TV shows, or movies. So if this sounds like you or something you might be interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. I post new videos every Tuesday. And sometimes we talk about things that aren't mysteries. I do have 2 mysteries for today, but the rest were romance or whatever. The whole like unifying theme was the fact that Lisa was in the title. I don't know how I feel about like reading a book with my name in it because it very rarely ever happens. So let me know in the comments below, like, does that happen to you a lot? Do you see that happening a lot? Because I know for me, like, because my name is so unpopular, I don't really see it in books that come out like in this decade or this like generation even. So it's interesting to me that people would even choose that name to put in a book, because I know when I go to write, I will just do a search for like most popular names, and 1,000% Lisa is like at the bottom. It's like number 1 million out of all names that are popular. So for sure it would never come up as like a selection. So anyways, let's go through the list. Here's what I did. I excluded anything that had erotica, kids books, and memoirs. That's like a total snooze fest. And plus I was more fascinated by people who write fiction and decided to put the name Lisa into the book. So again, keep in mind, these aren't like recommendations. We're just chatting about books that have the name Lisa in them, because I don't know if I'll actually read any of these because they're kind of, some of them are just kind of creepy, but let's go through that list. So out of the 11 books that I have, 1 is a paranormal romance, 1 is a historical thriller, and 2 are just creepy looking mysteries. And then 6 of them are romances, and 1 is a book about the Depression, I think, like a historical 1930s book. So let's go through that list. So the first one is Lisa, Coming of Age, Guardian Shifters, Book 1 by K.M. Lowe. And this kind of is like me. Like, she was abandoned. She doesn't know who her real parents are. But then she finds out she's a werewolf shifter, which is not like me. And it's a romance. It's a paranormal romance. The next book is the historical thriller, and this is Lisa Emmer, Historical Thrillers, Volume 1 and 2 by Rob Swigart. Now, honestly, with reading the description, it sounds more like, so Lisa, the main character in here, is a psychologist, and it sounds like she's looking into the disappearance of historians in both books versus it being actually a historical thriller. Like, it doesn't seem like it happens in the past. It's more about historian people. So I'm not sure if that was just mislabeled. The next one is a super creepy looking cover. It is called Heads Off, a Lisa Becker mystery, Book 1 from Falko Rademacher. Now, it says this is a best-selling series in Germany. I don't know if the translation didn't work, because it does say on the description like new improved translation. And it's basically about a detective named Lisa. So that's one of the mysteries. The second mystery is Finding Lisa by Sigrid Macdonald. And this is actually about a woman named Tara who is in an unhappy marriage, and then she's trying to find her best friend Lisa, who's an alcoholic. And then it does look kind of depressing though. That's why I said it was kind of weird, because it said it explores domestic violence and like crimes against women and depression. So It is whatever the opposite of uplifting is. So this looks like more of a serious novel. And now we get into the romances. There are 6 of them. They look a little bit more lighthearted and something honestly that I probably will check out and read. The first one is a sporting romance, Romances of the Heart. Now, the cool thing about this is it's written by sisters that are identical twins, Carmen Crowley and Carol Stokes. And then in the actual book, it is about identical twins as well. And one of them is named Lisa, and her identical twin has gotten married. And so now she's trying to figure out her love life because it sounds like they used to hang out a lot. The next one is Intimate Strangers, a second chance romance. Now, this is the Lisa Miller series by Lasairiona McMaster, and there are 4 books in the series. I don't know if it follows the same person, but I thought it was kind of funny because it said second chance romance, but the main character in here, Lisa, is in Ireland. She meets someone on the internet who lives in Alabama, so she flies from Ireland to Alabama to go meet him, and I don't know, it sounded like they had just met. So maybe she knew him already, but he was pretending to be somebody else. So she's like catfished by an ex-boyfriend because it said second chance. The next one is Bittersweets, Oscar and Lisa by Suzanne Jenkins. And this is number 3 of 8 in the Bittersweets romance series. And this is actually about a nurse and a patient. So it's a medical romance. And then the next one is Lisa and Company by Jilly Cooper. And this sounds more like a collection of romance short stories. So Lisa has a bunch of friends, so Lisa and Company, and it talks about their love life for each of the women that are listed as her friends in this book. And then another one is another anthology, and this is, the title of the book is just Lisa, and this is number 6 in the Beach Brides series, and there are 12 books in the series, and it's about, it's by Denise Devine, and it's about a bunch of women in a romance book club who decide to meet up in person, so they're virtual, just like our Cozy Escape book club, and while they're on this island, they obviously all fall in love and get married because otherwise they wouldn't be beach brides. So each of the 12 women gets their own book and it's named after them. And so book number 6 is Lisa. And then the last romance is Everything's Better with Lisa by Lucy Eden. I should just like print this out and just like post it all over like Ben's room just to remind him everything's better with Lisa. So it's just about, it sounds like an enemies to lovers trope romance where a woman is it's a single mom and she can't stand her neighbor, but they eventually get together and fall in love. And then the last one was kind of weird. This is definitely not a romance. It was just like, I think like a depressing fiction novel. It's called Dinner with Lisa by R.L. Prendergast, and it's set during the 1930s, during the Depression in Canada. And it says it talks about poverty and unemployment. So again, whatever the opposite of uplifting is, that would be this novel. But I know there are people who do like reading serious things. That's just not my thing. But if it's yours, this might be a book that you want to check out. If you were like specifically like, I need a book that's depressing, historical, and has the main character named Lisa. And I guess this book would fit it. Let me know what you think if you've ever done this kind of a search. And, you know, if you are obviously way younger than I am, I'm 47, probably more books have your name in it because your name is probably way more popular than my name. I don't think Lisa will ever have a resurgence of popularity. I mean, who knows? I don't think so, like in this century, maybe 2 or 3 centuries from now, but yeah, I mean, my dad's mother's name is Iola. Her sisters were named Zelda and Gwendolyn. So, I mean, all of those, I don't feel like those names really came back into popularity. Maybe Gwen, because of Gwen Stefani. That's the only person I can think of. But I've never met anyone named Iola. Zelda is like a video game now, so I don't know that I've ever met people named Zelda other than my aunt. Yeah, so that's kind of what I think about names. I feel like guy names don't really trend in and out as much as girl names. But maybe that's because I don't have children, so I've never really looked at baby books. But I do know when I go to write a novel and I'm trying to think of names for characters, I always just type in most popular names. I actually don't have a baby book or anything, but that's what I do. And so whatever is most popular are usually the names I use. And I would suspect that other authors probably do the same. I don't know. If you're one of the authors of these books and you're watching this video, like, let me know. Why did you choose the name Lisa? It's so, I mean, okay, for the historical romance, the historical books, I get it. It's an old name. You probably needed like something that was popular way back when. I could see using Lisa, but for the modern ones, I'm surprised that Lisa's used as a name. Anyways, let me know below if you like reading books with your name in it, or if it's weird, or if you don't even notice. I'm going to try reading one of the romances, and I will let you know how that feels to you read a book where it's like, Lisa did this, Lisa did that, Lisa this. So yeah, I think that'll be interesting. All right. I hope everyone's having a fabulous day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.